This is Makeup Mermaid 22 with another video, and this video is going to be a review and comparison of the Magictail Pro versus the Magictail, the regular Magictail. So I have both the Pro and the regular. The regular I have in the Rainbow, and the Pro I have in the Atlantis. So I've had the regular one for about a year now, and I've had the Pro for a few weeks, and I've got to swim in this one a few times. I've swum in this one many times. That I do not have the Magictail monofin. I have the FinFun monofin, so this might be slightly different than the Magictail. But to start off with, the price, I'm sure you guys are all wondering. This one from Magictail is 140 euros. It is in euros because they're from Germany. So it's 140 euros versus this one's 180 euros. This one's 40 more because of the larger size. So consider that when you are buying them, what you're going to pay. It does convert. It's not too bad, the euro to the US dollar right now. So the conversion isn't too bad. And then there's also, I think, around $15 shipping because of the weight. And I'll get into the weight next. So the FinFun monofin with the Magictail, it's probably like definitely like 1 to 3 pounds versus this is more like 5 to 7 pounds or something like that. So this one is a lot heavier. So if you're traveling or just carrying this around, that is something to consider. Another thing to consider about having this larger fluke is, again, with traveling, you can't really take this on a plane, I don't think. It's kind of too big. Whereas the smaller size is pretty easy to travel with. So this might be good to have around if you're not traveling by plane or if you're not traveling having to carry a lot, but this is definitely good for travel. Next is Buoyancy. So this one, it is a smaller tail with a smaller piece of plastic, so you don't have to worry as much about buoyancy. While this one is pretty big and has a lot of plastic in it. They're both plastic, I think acrylic covered. This is acrylic, and then I think this is a different kind of plastic. It's a lighter plastic, but they are covered in, I think, a neoprene. This one is blue and this one has black. The Magictail has also redesigned the regular monofin, so it's also made of the same blue versus the black neoprene, and the foot pockets are like FinFun's foot pockets now versus Magictail's old like a plastic foot pocket. Now they are like the FinFun. And if you like my Moana necklace, I just made this last night. It's my take on her design necklace. Fabric itself, it seems to be about the same kind of fabric, but the waistband seems different. I don't know if on the new ones they've also changed the waistband, but this one is a lot thicker. Like a piece of elastic is in there, where this is just folded over the doubled material. I prefer this one just because it just smooths out better, whereas this kind of cuts in a little bit and is not as comfortable to wear, and it, yeah, doesn't look as good. So that's just something to consider. I have the medium in both of them. Yeah, if you're wondering, I wear FinFun small and I wear Magictail medium. And there is a price difference between the different sizes on Magictail. So these are the prices for the medium sized, and those are without the bikini or bikini top or bottoms. Let me get into talking about this tail in general. So this tail, it's very nice. It looks obviously a lot more professional. It's a lot bigger fluke. It's comparable to like a Mertailer fluke, like a big silicone tail fluke, which is different for the fabric tails. Usually fabric tails have all about the same size fluke, which is around the FinFun size. So this is a nice difference to be had. And there are pros and cons to this. Having a larger fluke makes it so it's harder to make turn, you know, being just spatially aware. I was trying to get used to this in a very crowded pool with a lot of kids and not kicking any of them that got too close, but I'm very careful. Another thing that is different about this one is it has these straps on the inside. I'll insert a picture. But yeah, it has these straps on the inside that are like Velcro to try and keep your feet better in place. So those are a tiny bit less comfortable than the FinFun, but they aren't too bad. It's just another step I find I can wiggle into this without having to adjust it after the first time. Another thing that is not so good about this tail is the buoyancy. So it is very buoyant, so it likes to float up. So you're probably going to have to compensate for this. Usually with this tail, I'm very agile and I'm very able just to keep it down and not have to worry about it floating up. But this, I found my legs were bending more, and this was floating to the top a lot quicker. So I will be getting a weight belt soon, and hopefully that will help me be more neutrally buoyant and not have to worry about it as much. But that's just another thing to consider. Another con is that since it is so big, if you were in tight spaces like a pool, you can damage it. And I have done this a tiny bit, and I'm kind of disappointed because this is such an expensive tail and I've already damaged it a little bit. And I was trying to be pretty careful not kicking up against the side of the pools too much, but as you can see, I've already had a little bit of fraying and pilling and stuff like that along the side. It's not too bad on this side, but near the tips of the tail you can see that a little bit. You can see tips of the tail, and I actually already have a small hole in it, which for a pretty expensive tail I'm kind of disappointed because I do not have really any holes in my other tails, and I've used them a lot more than this. Yeah, I already have some damage to the tail, which for a very expensive tail, the tail skin's like $100. I'm kind of disappointed, and I've been pretty careful with it. So I'd say if you're swimming with this, definitely try and swim in open waters. Don't try and confine yourself to smaller areas because there's the danger of damaging it. The con of this tail is that the lighter green kind of shows it through. So it shows this kind of Velcro that it has going on here. It shows that in pictures and while you're swimming, so it's another non-realistic thing. Those were kind of the cons of the tail. Okay, back into the pros. The pros of having this tail is you get a lot of power. You get very far with this. Definitely would be nice to use if you're out in the ocean, if you're free diving. This is a lot nicer than a small fin fun tail or smaller Magictail. So I'd say that's a really nice pro to it. Another pro is it's a larger fluke, which can look more impressive and look more like an adult mermaid versus having a smaller fluke. So does fluke size matter? Well, sometimes it does. So that's another pro. So overall, if you were to ask me which tail I prefer, I actually prefer the smaller one. While this one is beautiful and it's nice for some events, it's easily damaged, the buoyancy and just the heaviness in traveling is not as easy as the smaller tail, and there's also the extra €40 cost. So especially if you're just starting out, I'd recommend the smaller tail just to get used to it and then maybe moving on to the larger tail, but definitely start off with the smaller tail just because it's easier to learn, it's easier to manage, there isn't as much risk of accidentally kicking someone with your fluke. It's just a lot easier to start out with. Then once you've mastered this, you can move on to a larger one if you feel like you want to. But I'm definitely glad to add this to my collection. Yeah, you can see my swimming videos of this and my unboxing videos. I'll try and link below, but it's definitely a beautiful tail. This again is the Atlantis tail by Magictail, and I got the medium. Let me know if any of you guys have any tails and what your favorite tail is from Magictail. I love them both. I'm very happy to have both of them in my tails. And I definitely enjoy swimming with both of them. I definitely feel more powerful with the larger one, but I feel more agile with the smaller one. So just something to consider. Thanks for watching. This is Makeup Mermaid 22. Comment, rate, subscribe, and leave any requests down below.